Hello, welcome to this update for the Caribbean and the Atlantic. Uh, on our last update a few days ago, we had this area at 40%, so it's still there in the Caribbean at 40% chance of development. No major changes as of now. Just the area has like modified a little bit, but it's still at a 40% chance there. They say a broad area of low pressure is likely to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea by the end of the week. Gradual development is possible thereafter, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend or early next week, while the system drifts generally northward over the central western Caribbean Sea. So be aware there, but no major things expected from this. Just some heavier rainfall in Central America. We'll show that in a moment. There are two systems on the Eastern Pacific, like not systems, like disturbances. Shows one at 30% there and another 30% as well. So they might try to form something, but uh, one of these disturbances was like 70% chance a few days ago, so it's not very favorable out there, but they might try to form into something. There's one lonely spot on the west, on the central Pacific, central to south central Pacific, and then shows an area low pressure but with disorganized shower thunderstorms. The value this is not expected, so just 0% there. So yeah, be aware. We'll show the models to see the systems on the Eastern Pacific form into something, but nothing major expected. So let's see the Atlantic first. The GFS does have that disturbance near the northeastern Caribbean, so be mindful of a little bit heavier rain near Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Does show that the area low pressure tries to form in the southwestern Caribbean by the end of this week, and then goes north. It does form like a tropical depression or a storm, but not very organized, but like that's like close to tropical storm strength. Then it goes into Haiti. It shows passes near Cuba, and then the GFS even takes this into the Gulf. But luckily, the GFS kills it off before going into the US. So this time the GFS is being nice, not taking like a major hurricane there. But this like a week out, and we don't even know if this will form yet. So just probabilities. We don't know anything yet. But be aware. There's the European model, shows like the rain there and everything, especially northeastern Caribbean, shows uh, more rain in the southwestern Caribbean. Maybe a low pressure tries to form, but not really developing to anything. Shows the rain kind of going near near the US and getting caught into a front there. So the Europeans still not developing anything. There's the Canadian model, shows a tropical storm forming just south of Jamaica on November 4th, and then going there into the Gulf. So the Canadians has almost a major hurricane there. This model, Jesus, but we never know. The track on this is similar to the GFS, because the GFS kind of went in that direction too, and the Canadian model also has like a tiny system forming in the near the Eastern Caribbean by like November 9th. But let's not pay much attention to this, because I seen this model do crazy things before. So don't freak out. But let's take a look at the icon. Shows the icon also shows a low pressure forming there, a tropical storm just south of Jamaica, and the icon also takes this towards the Gulf there, and the icon is very strong too. But this year I seen the icon strengthening these systems like very strong, and most of them didn't get to that strength, so don't mind much the strength on this. But three models are already showing this developing going towards the Gulf, so we better monitor this, but nothing to be alert yet. This hasn't even formed, so let's just see some more probabilities. The Navgen, like the 60, it has like the moisture there and everything. It does try to form a low pressure near Jamaica, but the low pressure tries to go into the Gulf, but very disorganized. That's not even a cyclone. It's just like a front by the shape of that. So we'll keep monitoring this, but nothing to like worry too much yet. Let's see, like Central Pacific. So there are those systems there in the Eastern Pacific. Let's see what the European model does. It takes the systems there. It does bring a little bit heavy rain to southern Hawaii on November 5th, but just like a front, not a cyclone or anything, and it quickly passes there. So the Europeans not developing anything. It has just some low pressures there in the intertropical convergence zone, but it doesn't form anything big. There's the GFS goes like there and doesn't form anything either, just brings that front in Hawaii with a little bit of more rain, but nothing crazy. The icon has like some disturbances there, but nothing really forms as well. The Canadian has like it has a more defined low pressure there, but it mainly stays south there of Hawaii, and that doesn't even form into anything that strong. So yeah, nothing crazy there. Just monitor for that front and everything, but nothing crazy. The rainfall accumulation until November 4th, the does shows some rain in Hawaii there, so like 69 millimeters, 23 millimeters, more like southwestern, southeastern Hawaii. But if I put this until November 6th, the European model rate has like 200 millimeters there, so like 256 millimeters. So this would be a bigger system in terms of rainfall. That won't be a tropical cyclone by any measures, but it might be a rainmaker. So yeah, there's the GFS 2 until November 7th. It does have some areas of a little bit more rain, but not even close to what the European had. And there's like the icon 2 until November 5th. Does have some showers in Hawaii, but barely nothing. So just the European is showing that disturbance stronger. And now in the Caribbean, which we should really worry there around Costa Rica and Panama, because the European model has reports of 300 millimeters parts of Panama and southern Costa Rica, some like 200 millimeters, like 281 millimeters. So be careful there the next few days. Like this is until November 3rd. It only has like 42 millimeters until November 3rd. But if I put this until November 4th, array has like 151 millimeters. So it went from like 40 millimeters to 100 millimeters in like one day. But for example, this area until November 3rd, so 57 millimeters until November 4th. So the European probably has a big rainfall system there on November 4th. But that's just one model run and one model. The GFS has the worst rain further south, like southern Panama. Not southern Panama because this is not the south of Panama, but that's like western Panama, southwestern Panama. It has like 300 millimeters, 330 millimeters. That's more than the European, like southwestern Costa Rica. It has a port of 349 millimeters, southwestern Costa Rica there. But until November 3rd, it has just 145 millimeters, and until November 4th, 331. So there'll likely be a bigger system on November 4th. The icon has more in Costa Rica, like 300 millimeters, and like 200 millimeters, 300 millimeters. So please be careful. But until November 3rd, it has like 63 millimeters, and until November 4th, 300 millimeters. So there'll likely be a big system in that time frame. So be careful there. So we'll keep monitoring this, but be aware. And just in the next like 2 days, shows some showers and a little bit heavier, like in the Pacific or Costa Rica, but nothing that crazy. But always be careful, like showers and storms, especially thunderstorms, like in El Salvador, close to 69 millimeters the next 2 days. In Guatemala, shows some areas of more. Belize, so just be aware of like the showers and thunderstorms. The European model has more in southern Honduras next 5 days, like 124 millimeters, and it has more like the Pacific of Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize as well. So be aware there. Northeastern Caribbean should get a little bit more in Puerto Rico, especially eastern Puerto Rico is close to 100 millimeters. The Virgin Islands, some 70 millimeters. Northeasternmost Caribbean, like Antigua and Barbuda, so like 35 millimeters, 51 millimeters. Nothing crazy, but there might be some thunderstorms from time to time with a little bit heavier rain. Then like the coast of Dominican Republic, some 89 millimeters to 91, so be aware near the Atlantic there. And still northeastern Cuba show like some 158 millimeters, so be aware. There might be some more heavy rain near the Turks and Caicos, but nothing crazy. And then like, and all that there are like Panama, Colombia, and Costa Rica, there'll be some heavy rain, northern Colombia, northwestern Venezuela too. So be careful. Like the thunderstorms and downpours there are usually heavy because it's tropical, but this week they might be even heavier. Northern Colombia, especially because Western Colombia gets like those tremendous downpours almost every day. So yeah, but be mindful of landslides and flash floods there. And shows like some more rain in the eastern Caribbean too, but nothing great, like 43 millimeters, 35 millimeters. So yeah, maybe some storms and some showers. Shows in the Yucatan some more thunderstorms and some more rain southern Mexico. So be aware, especially there in the southern Central America. And now, just for some probabilities with this system, the European model ensembles now are are trending a little bit more towards the Gulf, like in the northwestern Caribbean, that they like form in the southwestern Caribbean and go towards the northwestern Caribbean. They aren't showing anything major in the Gulf still, but they're concentrating around Cuba and the Yucatan, like tropical depression, tropical storm strength. Some go near the Bahamas, some pass by Cuba, but we need to watch this new trend now. This might be a thing with the model ones today, and like in 3 days the model ones might be trending in another direction, but we better just keep watching this. So be aware. The European operational model still doesn't have anything for me, but these ensembles are definitely excited. So let's see. There's the GFS. The GFS like very radical. It has like a lot of support. Show like some things near just north of the Greater Antilles too from the other disturbance. Shows some lost low pressures in the Atlantic, but it's concentrating around the northwestern Caribbean. Some stronger members there around Jamaica. Has some stuff towards going towards Dominican Republic, a finger or two near Puerto Rico, but it has mainly like Cuba and the northwestern Caribbean in the bullseye. But this is a lot of support. We better watch, but nothing to freak out yet because this hasn't even formed. But it does pass some things near. Some members pass near southern Florida too, and some pass near the Yucatan. So just stay up to date with the forecast and everything, but nothing that concerning. And then shows like in the Eastern Pacific, maybe some stuff too. So be aware in those areas. Now the tropical storm probabilities from the European model does show on like November 5th something on the Eastern Pacific, and by November 6th a 20% chance there, 10 to 20% near the northwestern Caribbean, grows that area 10 to 20% grows in size near Cuba and the Cayman Islands, and then keeps going there, remains just 10 to 20% tropical storm probability. So that's not high at all, but it's some probabilities to watch. So yeah, there's the tropical depression probabilities. Does show a lot there in the southwestern Caribbean where this might form, close to like 70%. Then it drifts towards like near Jamaica, some 60% tropical depression probabilities by November 6th. Shows this passing near the Cayman Islands and maybe into Cuba and the Yucatan there. So yeah, the probabilities are good, but nothing that's solid yet. So be aware in those areas, be careful. Let's just see the timeline for this rainfall. Shows that very heavy rain in Colombia, still arise some thunderstorms in Costa Rica, Nicaragua will get some thunderstorms too, in Panama, but show like November 1st, more showers and storms around there. November 2nd, more showers and storms, heavier parts of Panama. And then November 3rd does show some lingering showers and storms, but when it showed that tremendous rainfall on November 4th, the European model is showing here those pockets of very heavy rain late November 3rd into November 4th, especially like very late on the night of November 3rd, where it showed those accumulations there. So be aware. For comparison, the GFS has a little bit earlier, worse in like western Costa Rica and southern Panama, November 3rd to November 4th, and the icon has a lot in those areas, especially southern Costa Rica in that time frame. But there will be thunderstorms most of these days, like every day in some of those areas. So be careful there. And the accumulation till November 4th does show more parts of Nicaragua too, especially in Costa Rica and Panama. So be careful in those areas and stay safe. Let's just see if there's anything important. The waves are a little bit bigger in the Atlantic near the eastern Bahamas, but nothing crazy. It might be a tiny bit higher in the northeastern Caribbean. The first days of November near the Cayman Islands, maybe some above normal winds.